Talk time with little scholars every Saturday. Come hear the scholars. We learn, we laugh, and we share our minds from peace building to technology, education, current affairs, and social life. Find us on YouTube, Upperboards, and SoundCloud. We have got big ideas just waiting for you. With voices young and stories bold, together we shine, together we grow. It's Talk time with little scholars. This is a project of Excellence Foundation for South Sudan. Let's build a world where young minds glow.
Okay. Allow me call the first speaker, which is the captain from the affirmative side, to come and affirm the motion. Honorable Longa Marks.
I honor the presence of the moderator, secretary, time manager, judges, opposition, proposition, staffs, guests, and audience. My name is Longa Maxim, Primary 7 class from Baraka Central Nursery Primary School. Come here to propose a motion which says the use of plastic should completely be banned in Juba, basing my points of argument under wildlife. Wildlife refers to plants and animals growing in their natural environment. As I'm the first speaker, I would like to define the key words. Plastic is a material consisting of a wide range of synthesis. Completely means all. Banned means to be prohibited. As I've defined the keywords, may allow me to introduce my teammates. The second speaker is Honorable Emmanuel Wani, coming to base his points of argument under health. The last speaker is Honorable Nyaran Daniel, coming to base her points of argument under agriculture. Under wildlife, let me talk about starvation. Ladies and gentlemen, wildlife such as birds, fish, die of starvation as their stomachs get full with plastics. It can also cause internal and external injuries which can reduce the ability to fly or swim. Domesticated animals such as goats, sheep, or cows mistake indigestible plastics and hence affected. Here is the quotation for that. As you can see, here are donkeys eating plastics and they will be affected. Secondly, let me talk about disruption of hormones. Plastics can disrupt hormones, affecting reproductive success of a wide variety of wildlife. Macroplastics decline feeding behavior and fertility. Slow down level growth and development in aquatic invertebrates, which can increase oxygen consumption and stimulate the production of reactive oxygen species. Plastics can affect liver, brain, respiratory system, reproductive system, and the gills in wildlife. If all this can happen, I don't see a clear reason for opposing this motion. And let's all remember that these mammals are also living things. They deserve to live as much as you do, though they don't have the same thinking capacity as you do. Here is an animal. It doesn't know what it is doing. It's thinking this is okay for it. So we must take care of it and we must take care of them. Lastly, thank you for your warning. Lastly, let me talk about starvation. Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of animals from small finches to the big blue whale die, greased to death from getting caught in plastics. Studies have shown that a quarter of the fish in the markets of Juba contain plastic in their guts, mostly in form of plastic microfibers. Recent research says that the fish in the River Nile ingest 12,000 to 24,000 tons of plastics each year, which can make them die. Here is one of the examples of these animals that eat plastics in the ocean, in the River Nile. In my summary, I base my points of argument under wildlife, where I talked about disruption of hormones, whereby plastics can disrupt hormones and affect reproductive success of a wide variety of wildlife. I also talked about starvation, where thousands of animals die of starvation after eating and getting caught in plastics. I also talked about marine animals, whereby thousands of animals ingest plastics and hence affected. In conclusion, plastics should be completely banned in Juba. Thanks.
Wow, that was the first speaker from the proposition side, Honorable Longamas. Allow me call the first speaker from the negative side, from the opposition side, Honorable Yade Mawich.
In the first place, I would like to send my excellent regards to moderator, secretary, judges, timekeeper, all guests around, teachers, proposers, opposers. I never forget you, my dear audience. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nyadei Biel from Liech Primary School. I am the team captain of our side, the side that disagree with the motion. And before I proceed ahead, I would like to introduce my fellow debaters from opposition sides. I have Khan Mabanyarut and Nyanen Mawich Bill. And the motion states, the use of plastic should be completely banned in Juba. Back to my side, it's negative for my following views. And before I proceed to my views, I would like to define the key term of the motion. Use is the act of doing something. Plastic is light, strong material that is sharp when heated. Completely means to complete degree of full. Ban, to say it officially, something is not allowed. Juba, it is the capital city of South Sudan. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk about job creation. The plastic industry creates jobs in manufacturing, recounseling, and research, contributing to economic growth. Plastic sector can help to address unemployment and underemployment in Juba, promoting economic growth. And I submit this point of my argument to table of Honorable Chairperson, fair judges, and back to listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk about technological advancement. Innovation in plastic technology can lead to more sustainable practice and products. By supporting technological advancement, Juba can encourage development of environmental friendly. I submit this point of my argument to table of Honorable Chairperson, fair judges, and back to listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk about infrastructure. The plastic is used in manufacturing materials and infrastructure such as pipes, insulation, and construction cabinets, which are important for development and maintenance, water supply system, and electrical network. I submit this point of my argument to table of Honorable Chairperson, fair judges, and back to listeners. Ladies and gentlemen, to summarize my views, I would like to remind you that I have talked about job creation. Secondly, I talk about technological advancement. Then lastly, I have talked about infrastructure. Conclusively, I would like to encourage you, my dear audience, fellow debaters, to work hand on hand to achieve the goal of education. Thank you.
That was the first speaker from the negative side, who came and regulated the motion. Allow me call the second speaker from the proposition side, Honorable Emmanuel Wani.
In the first place, I would like to honor the presence of moderator, secretary, judges, time manager, proposition, opposition, staffs, guests, and audience. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Emmanuel Wani from Baraka Central Nursery and Primary School in Primary 8 class. I have come here to propose the motion. We say the use of plastics will be completely banned in Juba. Back to my side is 100% because of my following point of argument. First, I would like to talk of health. Health, by its simple understanding, is the state of being free from any kind of disease or illness. Under health, let me talk about reproductive health. Infertility issues are also caused by chemicals in plastic. Disrupt reproductive health, affecting fertility and increasing the rates and birth defect. Exposure during pregnancy, which can harm the vital development, leading to long-term health problems for the child. Most children around the world have abnormalities due to these uses or effects of plastics. Dear proposer, Here my evidence. From UNDP, Home Kosovo, microplastics on human health, how much we say harm us. Research from UNDP say that different chemicals can leach from our plastics, waters, bottles, knives, and dermatologists products to enter our bodies. These compounds are linked to serious health issues such as endocrine disruption, weight gain, ensuring resistance, decreased reproductive health, and cancer. Dear event moderator, you can see, to keep the ball running, let me talk about children and infants. Children are particularly sensitive to plastic-related chemicals like phthalates, which can disrupt their behaviors, such as munching objects, increasing exposure, leading to long-term health issues like asthma and lung cancer. Pregnant women who are also exposed to this chemical during pregnancy can affect the fetal development. Thank you for your warning. Hormonal disruption and also increasing the risk of pregnancy conditions like stillbirth and miscarriages. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to reach as soon as possible by banning of these plastics. Last but not least, let me talk about occupational exposures. Workers in plastics manufacturing, recycling, and healthcare are at greater risk of chronic exposure to harmful chemicals. It also attracts global warming, the heating of the earth due to excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Why am I saying like this? Because during the process of manufacturing these plastics, there are toxic fumes being released, which when inhaled can lead to respiratory issues, even in skin condition. It also increases the risk of cancer. If such vulnerable populations are affected, why do we still oppose the motion? Imagine those who are working in those factories or industries are your mothers, fathers, younger siblings. Will you still be in position to oppose the motion? Think twice, ladies and gentlemen. In my summary, I have talked about reproductive health, where I talk about infertility issues are caused by chemicals in plastics. I have talked about children and infants, where I talk about children are particularly sensitive to plastic-related chemicals like phthalates, which can disrupt their behaviors. I have talked about occupational exposure, where I talk about workers in plastics manufacturing, recycling. In my conclusion, I would like to conclude by saying, as you, the opposer, how do you feel when such vulnerable populations are affected by the use of plastics? Thanks.
Wow, that was the second speaker from the affirmative side, Honorable Emmanuel Wani. Now it's high time we went to call Khan Maben from the opposition side. Honorable Khan, you're welcome.
I recognize the presence of moderator, panel of judges, invited guests, teachers around, and you, my lovely audience. Good afternoon. My name is Kanu Beirut, a graded learner from Liech Primary School. I'm here to oppose the motion that states the use of plastic should be completely banned in Juba. For me, I disagree with the motion. My dear opposers, if you support the burning of plastic in Juba, what can we use in school? You know all material are made of plastics. Such things are pen is made of plastics. Even this file is made of plastic. What will you use in school? Okay, I would like to talk about economics impact. Plastic production and manufacturing provide economics and extend and contribute to the local economics. In Juba, where economic opportunity may be limited, burning plastic could lead to job loss and financial instability for those involved in industry. I handle this view to the table of Honorable Chairperson, Pierre Judges, and back to the listeners. I would like to talk about food safety. Plastic is used in food packaging to maintain hygiene and extend the shelf life of products. Proper food packaging help prevent and spoil, ensuring that consumers have access to safe and nutritious food items. I handle this view to the table of Honorable Chairperson, Pierre Judges, and back to the listeners. I would like to talk about emergency response. Plastic is used in emergency response solutions, such as medical supplies and rescue equipment. In time of crisis, plastics products play an important role in providing essential resources and support emergency relief effort in Juba. I add all this view to the table of Honorable Chairperson, Pierre Judges, and back to the listeners. In my conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, to remind you, I have talked about economic effort and I talked about food safety and emergency response. To conclude, I would like to say plastic should not be burned in Juba because burning plastic could make it challenging for low individuals to access essential goods and services. Thank you.
That was the second speaker from the opposition side, Honorable Khan Mabel. Allow me to call the third speaker from the opposition side, Honorable Narwan Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nyaron Daniel in primary 7 class from Baraka Central Nursery Primary School, coming here to propose the motion which says the use of plastic should completely be banned in Juba. Back to my side, I agree with this motion 100%. Before I go further, I'm going to base my points of argument under agriculture. Agriculture is the growing of crops and rearing of animals. But before I go through my points, I like to ask the first honorable speaker who came here and said that if we ban plastics, we will lose jobs. Are you aware that the presence of these plastics is also making people to lose jobs? Allow me to talk about reduce of diversity and abundance of beneficial microorganisms. First and foremost, the presence of microorganisms may alter the composition of soil, reducing nitrogen-fixing bacteria, which play essential roles in soil fertility and yield of crops. Microplastics also act as carriers of other chemicals in the soil. Secondly, I like to talk about reduction of soil fertility and yield of crops. Honorable Chairperson, microplastics enter soil through various pathways, including sewages, irrigation systems, and residual mulching film decomposition. An unincreased amount on these plastics can directly alter the soil physiochemical properties, reducing nutrient availability for plants, hence lower crop yield. Once the crop yields are lowered, there can be starvation of people and famine in the land. We may wonder why is it that South Sudan like to import goods from Uganda and other countries. This is because we South Sudanese, honestly, we are rigidity. If we are told not to do something, we will not understand. Like, if we try to ban these plastics, we will still use them and we throw them anywhere. And if you try to plant your crops, they will not yield. And that's why we import goods from other countries. Thirdly, I would like to talk about effects of plastics on domestic animals. When plastics end up in the environment, it tends to bite with environmental pollution. With the plastics that move through the food chain, the antitoxins can also move and accumulate with the animal's fat and tissues through a process called bioaccumulation. In addition, chemicals are often added to plastic during production process to give them desired properties. And these chemicals can in turn leak from that plastic even if that plastic is inside the body of an animal. The studies have found that the Nile River has been badly polluted by these plastics. The article on 18th June 2024 shows that the action is needed to be taken immediately. This event was graced by the Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, His Excellency Honorable Onyoki Adigo Nyikwe. In summary, I based my points of argument under agriculture, where I talked of the reduce of diversity and abundance of beneficial microorganisms like the nitrogen-fixing bacteria. And I have talked about reduction of soil fertility and yield of crops, where I talked of the imports brought from other countries. Lastly, I talked about effects of plastics on domestic animals, where I talked of the event that was graced by the Minister of Livestock and Fisheries. In my own conclusion, I'd like to conclude by saying, let's all react as soon as possible. We are endangering agricultural system. Let's not forget that agriculture is the backbone of every country. Let's wake up before it's too late.
Thank you. That was the last speaker from the affirmative side, subject to affirm the motion. Allow me to welcome the last speaker from the negative side, Honorable Yanil Mawich, PM.
I'm so excited and thank Almighty for the wonderful day to meet you all, my beloved people. And I would like to give my excellent gratitude to the table of Honorable Moderator, Secretary, judges, time manager, proposers, opposers, all invited guest teachers around, and never forget you beloved learners and future leaders of tomorrow. In front of you is none other than Yenenmo Wigil from Liech Primary School, IDP Camp 1. He stands here to oppose the motion which states the use of plastic should be completely banned in Juba. Back to my side, it's negative. Before I proceed ahead to my points, I would like to revert what my fellow opponents have talked about. You have said that plastic affects liver and lungs. But how can plastic affect livers and lungs while it provides a vital role in while it helps to provide a good necessary in providing immediate support and relief to our ports, many communities in Juba. For example, even the chairs that you guys are sitting with are made up of plastic. If we could ban them, what are you going to use for sitting? That's why I'm standing here by opposing this motion. The use of plastic shouldn't be banned in Juba due to medical uses. Plastic play a vital role in providing medical equipment and supplies such as syringe and surgical equipment. For instance, these are essential for maintaining personal health, but burning plastic could limit the availability of those critical medical resources impacting healthcare in Juba, which is unnecessary for our health. And that is why I'm standing here by opposing this motion that all plastic shouldn't be completely banned in Juba. I would like to talk about personal care. Plastic have great use in personal care. For example, toothbrushes and containers for cream and lotion, which are essential for maintaining personal hygiene and promoting health and well-being in Juba. And if I may ask those who are proposing this motion, how many of you are sharing toothbrushes with others? If no one, it's because plastics are available. But banning plastic could lead to share of personal items, leading to the spread of maladies like syphilis, which is unnecessary at all. And that is why I'm standing here by opposing this motion that all plastic shouldn't be banned in Juba. In my summary, I have talked about medical uses, and secondly, I have talked about personal care. To conclude my views, I would like to say that all plastic shouldn't be banned in Juba due to they have great use in our life as South Sudanese.
Wow, that was clear. And she happens to be the last person for our today's debate. And it's time. Okay. I'm left with one thing. I'm going to call upon the captain. I will start from the negative side. The opposition side. Let's welcome the captain, Honorable and then
Greet you once again. This is Minya Demuchbiel from opposition side. I'm here to summarize our views. And before I summarize our views, one of previous speaker asked about job creation. And of course I say that because many people in Juba are selling plastics, and if we ban them, where do you think those people will survive? And that is the reason why I say plastic creates jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you that we have talked about economic impact, food safety, emergency response, job creation, technological advancement, infrastructure, medical uses, and personal care. Thank you so much.
That was the captain from the visiting school. Allow me to call the captain from the hosting school, Honorable Longa Max.
My name is Longa Max. I've come here to summarize our points. I, Longa Max, talked about, based my points of argument under wildlife, where I talked about marine animals, whereby thousands of animals die from eating and getting caught in plastics. And I also talked about starvation, whereby animals die of starvation due to plastics in their stomachs. I also talked about disruption of hormones, where I talked about plastics can disrupt hormones and affect reproductive success of a wide variety. And I also, the second speaker, Honorable Emmanuel Wani, based his points of argument under health, where I talked about reproductive health, whereby he emphasized about infertility issues are also caused by chemicals in plastics. He also talked about children and infants. Children are particularly sensitive to plastic-related chemicals like phthalates, which can disrupt their behaviors. Thirdly, he talked about occupational exposure, whereby workers in plastics, manufacturing, recycling, and health care are at a greater risk of chronic diseases. The last speaker, Nyarandanel, talked about reduce of diversity and abundance of beneficial microorganisms, where she talked of the nitrogen-fixing bacteria. And she also talked about reducing of soil fertility and yield of crops, where she talked of the import of goods from other countries. And she also talked about the effects of plastics on to domestic animals, where she talked of domestic animals die. I would like to challenge the honorables who came here and say that these chairs that we are sitting on are made of plastics. Yeah, they are made of plastic, of course, but these chairs can easily get broken. Take an example of those chairs there. Those chairs can even take something of 10 years without getting broken. But these ones, they can get expired and they will break. So that is why I say that plastics should completely be banned in Juba. Thanks.
You have been listening to Talk Time with Little Scholars, where young minds speak loud and proud. Catch us every Saturday on YouTube, Upperbots, and SoundCloud, brought to you by the Excellence Foundation for South Sudan, giving children a voice, one episode at a time.